The Virgin Islands are an archipelago in the Caribbean Sea, divided into three jurisdictions: the U.S. Virgin Islands, the British Virgin Islands, and the Spanish Virgin Islands, belonging to Puerto Rico. I'll just be talking about the U.S. and British Islands today. The U.S. Virgin Islands consist of three main islands: St. Croix, St. Thomas, and St. John. St. Croix and St. Thomas each have just over 40,000 inhabitants. St. John only has 4,000. Total population of the U.S. islands is just under 90,000. Total population of the British Islands is around 30,000. Comparing this to other island nations I've done videos on, it's got twice as many people as American Samoa, and less than a third of the Bahamas. Because it's split into American and British islands, you might expect them to have vastly different sports preferences, like Samoa and American Samoa have. But their sporting interests more closely resemble the Bahamas, where, due to its proximity to the U.S., leans towards American sports. Baseball, basketball, and soccer are very popular there. The one difference is that while the Bahamas almost completely abandoned cricket, it's still played in both the U.S. and British Virgin Islands. In fact, sports preferences are pretty much the same on all the islands, whether American or British. Basketball seems to be the most popular, thanks largely to former NBA star Tim Duncan, who came from St. Croix. Baseball is not the biggest, but at least one of the top three. Baseball was first played in the Virgin Islands by visiting American sailors to St. Thomas in the year 1900, when they were the Danish Virgin Islands. In 1917, the year that ownership of the islands changed from Denmark to the United States, it was first played among the local people. And from then on, the sport flourished on St. Thomas and spread to the other islands. William Lewis is the man credited with introducing the sport. He was a St. Thomas native who taught the game to the people of his island after returning from Santo Domingo. On March 31, 1967, the New York Yankees and Boston Red Sox played an exhibition game at the now demolished Paul E. Joseph Stadium in front of 5,000 fans. This came 8 years after the first Virgin Islands-born player appeared in Major League Baseball. That was outfielder Joe Christopher, who debuted in 1959 and played until 1966, and was part of the Pittsburgh Pirates World Series championship team. But catcher VALMY Thomas made his MLB debut 2 years earlier in 1957 and is considered the first VI player in Major League Baseball. His birthplace is Puerto Rico, but only because his mother went there to give birth because of better available medical care. He grew up in the Virgin Islands and played 5 years in Major League Baseball. Several others would follow. Catcher Ellie Hendricks played from 1968 to 1979, part of 3 World Series champion teams. After his playing career, he was the Orioles bullpen coach for 28 years and is now a member of the Orioles Hall of Fame. Pitcher Al McBean appeared in over 400 games from 1961 to 1970 and was one of the National League's best relievers in the mid-60s. While there has never been a Hall of Famer and never an explosion of players from VI reaching the major leagues, there has almost always been a presence of them at the major league level. From Thomas's debut in 1957 until 2005, there was only one season in which there were no players born in the Virgin Islands in Major League Baseball. That was in 1985. There has been a total of 14 players from VI and MLB. And in the last 15 years, there have been 4 of them to reach the Major League level. Recently, outfielder Jabari Blash played in MLB from 2016 to 2018, and in NPB in 2019 and 2020. 30-year-old pitcher Jarrell Cotton also debuted in 2016. He is still there now. After posting a .352 ERA in 30 innings of relief for the Rangers in 2021, he is now pitching out of the bullpen for the Twins in 2022. Another recent one worth mentioning is outfielder Domingo Santana. He was born in the Dominican Republic but grew up on St. Thomas. An interesting story there is that when he started high school, he began spending more time playing basketball. So his father, an ex-minor leaguer, had him sent back to the Dominican Republic, where he was sure to concentrate more on baseball. Santana played 7 years in MLB and is now in his 2nd year in NPB. All players have come from the U.S. Virgin Islands, none from the British Islands yet. Players from British VI can play for Great Britain's national baseball team. The first was in 2017 when Nate Sean Thomas, who was playing in the German League, was on Britain's team for the WBC qualifier. 4 British VI players, including Thomas, played for Britain in the 2021 European Baseball Championship. The U.S. Virgin Islands national baseball team is ranked 66th in the latest WBSC World Rankings, tied with El Salvador, just ahead of Fiji, just behind Aruba. Aruba's low ranking is due to their best players joining the Netherlands team for international competition. This ranking for US VI is good considering their low population, but disappointing considering their large presence in MLB organizations. Seems like they should be higher than that. They're tied for 19th in the Americas, so they have a hard time qualifying for competitions like the Pan American Games or the Central American and Caribbean Games. For the future, it's hard to imagine the sport getting any bigger there. There are only so many people there, and baseball is already one of their top sports. Some people will naturally make comparisons with Curaçao and say that the Virgin Islands could become just as strong. Curaçao is larger, but not by too much. It's just off the coast of Venezuela. The VI are right next to Puerto Rico. Definitely some similarities there. But the Virgin Islands already have a variety of sports they play, and a revered superstar in basketball. There's nothing that's going to make baseball take over the islands like we've seen in Curacao. They'd like to see this continuous stream of players from the VI to the MLB continue in the decades to come, and every young player there wants to become the first great major leaguer from the islands, maybe even the first Hall of Famer. They've been doing everything they can to keep developing players to reach the highest levels. No big stadiums there, the population doesn't support it, but they do have proper playing facilities and equipment. They've got Little League, and a few years ago they hosted the Caribbean Regional Tournament, which included regional powers the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. It's played in the schools. Amateur leagues are there for adults. Players who move up to the major league system will often return during the off-season and participate in clinics to develop the young talent. Sometimes they'll bring their major league teammates with them, so young athletes in the Virgin Islands have the chance to meet and learn from a lot of professional ball players. One advantage they have is the year-round warm weather. Another is their proximity to the U.S. mainland, which they do take advantage of, sending teams of young players to the U.S. to compete against American teams. Disadvantages, as I already mentioned, are the small population and competition from other sports. In the future, we'll continue to see players from USVI make their way onto major league rosters, and hopefully we'll get to see at least one from the British Islands make it. Their goals will be to make one of those players a top-tier major league player, one that can possibly reach the Hall of Fame, and for the national team to get stronger, climb the rankings, and one day play in the World Baseball Classic. Anyway, that's all for this one. Until next time, this is Baseball International. See ya.